For our last lesson in this series, I would like to share with you one more idea from chapter 16. In verse 12, Paul makes one final mention of Apollos. You may remember that Apollos came up in chapters 1, 3, and 4 when he was on the list of other leaders that some of the Corinthians may have preferred more than Paul. This time in chapter 16, his name comes up again, this time with a little tension in the air. In this tension, we can learn about conflict resolution up close and personal. Here's verse 12. Now, concerning our brother Apollos, I strongly urged him to visit you with the other brothers, but it was not at all his will to come now. He will come when he has opportunity. I love this verse because it shows how Paul puts some of the conflict resolution ideas into practice. We get to see from Paul's life that these ideas translate from words on a page into real life. Imagine you're in Paul's place, and this inexperienced teacher-preacher doesn't want to do what you want him to do. Paul wants Apollos to go to Corinth right away and help the Corinthians, but Apollos is unwilling to go. What do? Have a big fight? Put him in his place? Show him who's boss? Well, Paul strongly urges Apollos to go to Corinth right away. But when push comes to shove, Paul doesn't shove. Paul lets Apollos do what he wants. This isn't a life or death matter. It isn't a doctrinal issue. It's just a judgment call on when is the best time to go back to Corinth. Paul says that Apollos can do what he wants. That's not Paul's preference, but Paul realizes that it is just a preference. Also notice that Paul and Apollos are able to talk about something they disagree about. It seems to me that many folks today choose not to talk to another Christian they disagree with, assuming that if they had an argument, it would somehow be unspiritual. Paul and Apollos actually have the tough conversation. At the end, they realize that they still don't agree. Then Paul is able to show love. I wonder if the Lord allowed Paul this little conflict so that he could show the Corinthians by example that conflict resolution is important. In any case, we get a tangible example from Paul that conflict resolution principles aren't just book learning. Paul shows us that he values unity and other people more than getting his way in this area. Paul knows that God's love doesn't insist on its own way. So Paul doesn't insist on his own way in this case. Paul shows us that he doesn't need to win this argument. He can follow Jesus in living the foolish life of self-denial. I think it's great that at the end of the book, we get this little glimpse into real life. Paul puts some conflict resolution ideas into practice and shows us this isn't just theoretical. That's the end of this video series on conflict resolution in 1 Corinthians. I pray that God will teach us these important principles and give us grace to apply these ideas to our conflicts and potential conflicts. I hope that, like Paul, you are ready to put these ideas into practice. I'd love to hear how God uses His Word in your life.